Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we began this duology's 10th and final case, only to be met with a very unpleasant surprise. The judge presiding over the trial right now is not the lovable oaf we know so well, and instead it's male Strongheart, and something tells me he's going to do his best to quash any unwelcome surprises from Ryunosuke. Well, anyway, Gina's taken the stand as a witness here, and we've managed to prove that at the time of his death, Tobias Gregson probably wasn't in London at all. No, he was on a ship called the SS Grouse. And now we're cross-examining her some more to that end, so let's begin. Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was the 31st of October. It said Grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. The name? There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or summit. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Oh, brother. A name from 10 years ago. And who do we know was on that ship at the time as well? Yujin Mikotoba and, Jigoku. Yeah, Judge Jigoku. I don't think we know his first name, actually. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. Ah. So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on the 31st of October. Huh? How do you read this then? Reading's still not her strong suit. Yeah, she doesn't know why. That ain't the problem, alright, Otto? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read. So it's someone from overseas. Let me have a bash at it. Seishiro, is it? Oh. That would do it. Seishiro, Jigoku, right? Yeah, Seishiro. Jigoku, maybe. What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's Judge Jigoku. Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection!
But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector personally. Well, that's a stupid friggin' reason. Do you realize how indispensable Gregson would be in that scenario? A legend of Scotland Yard who's totally willing to be your accomplice and has carried out hits with you for years, and you just kill him after one mistake? That's stupid. Never mind false from the start. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barak von Zieks. It's an undeniably logical argument. Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Who was that mighty voice? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. Oh, sometimes you're just presented with, like, a full package. Like, everything going on my computer screen right now is just... Oh, it's just so Ace Attorney. Oh, man. Lord Van Zeeks. The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. Huh? What? Nah, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard, reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for a testimony. Damn! What did you say? Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance. My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. Well, that's nice. Someone to bounce off of, huh? I guess we'll have to, not press, but, just catch Van Zeeks when he notices something weird here. I should look at the UI more and see what the term is. Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Hold it! In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found out. If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization, with you at its head. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse. Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there. But of course, the inspector was not there. because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's all right. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? Yeah. Everything that, Kazuma just said, it, felt like he had accepted wholeheartedly what Ryunosuke had said earlier. It's interesting.
Names of victims, dates and places and stuff, and the last entry in there was the 31st of October.
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular?
Well, beside the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that?
It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over again.
You mean Asa Shin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she?
Were you even listening yesterday? Asa Shin, the assassin. Uh-huh. Subtle as a brick to the face. Oh boy.
What? Like a killer, you mean?
Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes.
Ah, then perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel.
Could that additional person have been clearly the assassin who was meant to take Seiichiro Jigoku's life? Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seiichiro Jigoku. What name was written?
Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it as it happens.
Well, this is all beside the point. Asa Shin is dead.
What? It just had a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating.
A nameless assassin.
It said Grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark.
Hold it!
And you're saying that the mark listed was Seiichiro Jigoku?
That's what it said. Funny name, if you ask me.
It's a cool name. I really like it. It's fun to say.
And I thought your name was odd.
No, it's Otto.
So pleased to have lost my crown there.
Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in here has got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
Was it just me, or was her hat looking weird there? Hold on, Okay, hopefully by the time I finish this video, I'll remember to go and freeze frame that. It looked like her hat was clipping through her head. Interesting.
There's a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or summit.
Hold it!
What do you mean, a criminal? Judge Shigoku is no criminal.
Well, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Shigoku did once appear in court here in Britain?
Oh, right.
It was related to the professor case, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, you're right. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens.
You did?
It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike.
What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Shigoku was targeted for assassination?
The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is.
Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond the sane person's comprehension.
But... Right, I've just had about enough of this.
China?
All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people? It's cobblers. Come on, Otto.
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You've gotta find a flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You've gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss.
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Ouch. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear?
I've had it with a lot of ya. It's lies every bleeding place you'll look in this world, innit? Well, I've had enough. Gina.
So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean?
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears.
Come on, Otto, help. You've got to find a flaw somewhere.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve.
Huh?
What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency?
Really, Otto?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... Okay, well... So... Odd enough that the game is making it phrased like this, making me select a profile, because clearly this means the way forward is not by, you know, presenting evidence on something someone on the stand is saying. And what's more, Ryunosuke had a reaction in particular to what Kazuma said, so even though I don't quite know exactly what is going on right now, it has to be Kazuma, right? Right? Right.
Take that!
By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. Is this some attempt at filibustering, Counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece... Oh god. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, Counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said? Okay, we're gonna scroll up a lot. Crap. It doesn't go back far enough. Oh no. Oh no, okay. It was the first thing, literally the first thing we pressed, where Kazuma was talking about the ship? The ticket? What the frick was it? Okay, so if there's anything here about Asa Shin's death, that'd be nice. Ah, crap. He should travel to France the day before his body was discovered. A ticket for a steam... Oh, God. Oh, what was it? Oh, I'm kind of tempted to just present a random guess and then go back and read it again. Ah... It's something to do with the ship and the passengers aboard, right? Could it be the passport again? There's a total mystery of who the additional person was. But didn't we already... Yeah. Usually this franchise doesn't have you present the same evidence so quickly back to back. We earlier presented the passport to get to where we are now from the start of this video. Oh man, no, I'm sure I'm driving a lot of people crazy right now, but I genuinely forget the exact specifics of what was said. So I don't want to present the ticket either, because we presented that too. So what relating to the ship isn't either of those things? You know, the trunk was... Where did Gina find the trunk again? Maybe I should use the lucky charm. I need it. I need help. Oh, enough stalling. I just need to present something. And, I'll just go back and check that first statement again.
Take that!
Are you telling me did I just get it right? Oh, okay. Oh, it's about damn time I have good luck with a guess. Okay. Oh man. This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain, and a relatively fresh one too.
What? You mean this ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it.
But I found it. Me, with my nose for trouble.
Yeah, it was Venus. I remember now. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On the 31st of October, where exactly were you? Ooh. This is getting spicy. At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... Show me the tips of your swords, please. I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it can only have been for one purpose.
Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think...
Come on, Ryunosuke, you know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there, with Gregson. There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret that trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point, I'll need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. To that end, let's double check. Open this up. Have a look-see inside. Have another look at this. Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting.
It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it.
Well, don't cut yourself. You better leave it, I think. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
I wonder how it happened. I wonder indeed. Look at this dark stain here. Do you think...
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means...
that this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes.
To think Gina's been carrying this around with her. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? Okay, it's not the gash. I want to go with the blade piece. Need to open this up. Shame we're seeing this all this again, but better safer than sorry. Right, not the gash. I want the blade piece.
Got it!
There is a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade.
Huh? A blade?
Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karama. Of course it is. Also, apparently Karama is actually supposed to be karma. And so that one line where an acquaintance of Genshin Asogi changed their surname to Karma is supposed to be a wink and a nod to, well, the Von Karmas. Very subtle, completely missed it, but it's really neat. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom for all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary.
Oh, no!
The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi? This is interesting. Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark.
What? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku?
Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan.
You were never going to do it. We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin?
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
A boarding house in Dunkirk?
My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk?
I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case.
The gall!
And accordingly, I chose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. The great sword Karama has been entered into the court record. We must take immediate action now, to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed.
What? Remains unharmed?
I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday.
How did you...
When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise.
You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed?
The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks?
If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you.
This is intense. Order. Order in the court. Order. We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes.
Now?
Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst.
Oh no, not Judge Jigoku.
No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake.
My lord?
I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. And he does love to count the minutes. Oh, okay.
Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare.
I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories.
I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear.
Of course. The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Pull! Here it goes then. I'm going to do it.
Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo.
No looking back. Heave! Ow?
That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes? Where are you? Here, my dear fellow, here. What? What? It's the felt doll talking.
Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
Alright then, I'll put all my strength into it. Heave! What kind of voodoo doll nonsense is this? Also, why are you on a ship? Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off.
Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse. The SS Grouse? She left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour.
You've taken a ship to France?
Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time.
So, you mean you'd already worked it out?
That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name?
Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective.
Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it.
Again, how? Ow, 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 ow! Mr. Sato, gently with the genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
If I may, Sholmes. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland Yard yesterday, when you examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you?
You've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now. And if we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say...
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful.
Until later, then.
Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first.
Ow, 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 ow! I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operated in that way in the first place, Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine.
That's incredible. Oh. 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 Oh, we're doing this, are we? Oh, I am pumping my fist. Oh, this is that good shit. Oh, well, crap, I was hoping to be able to look at Karama in detail this video, but I guess we might have to wait till next time. And Lord knows I'm probably going to forget to do that.
Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that now before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin.
Wow. That's apparently Beef Stroganoff has a twin. I don't think he had blonde hair before, and most certainly did not have a tattoo. Or is that arm hair?
First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow.
My god, we are in Mikotoba's head. Wow, I never thought for a second we would play as Yujin Mikotoba. This is so weird. Well, I guess because he looks exactly the same, I guess I'll just give him the same voice. Let's see if I can remember it.
Why are you loitering here? Who are you?
My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one?
The question really ought to be, who are you?
Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor? Chicken. His name is Chicken Stroganoff. They can't keep getting away with it. And, yes, in quite unsteady hand, unfamiliar with English script, I might say, the name Sholmes. How interesting.
Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Chicken Stroganoff when you see?
Great detective? Ha, I don't think so.
Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Sholmes? I must say, while such adoration is flattering naturally, it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave, now. How distressing! My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. You said it. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago now, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with this name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. You mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk. He said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Seishiro's realized that we're after him, has he? Would Jigoku willingly flee? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw this sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area. You're standing right in front of him. Doesn't great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined! And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikotoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock. Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man! So, the game is afoot. Well, bravo, Capcom. How good this is nearly makes me want to forget your recent complete bullshit with DRM that popped up in the last few days. Yeah, in case you haven't heard the news, Capcom is going back to their old games on Steam, like games that came out a decade plus ago, and adding new DRM that prohibits any form of modding, and on top of that makes the game stuttery and reduces the frame rate by about 10 to 20. Right now it's currently only affecting Resident Evil Revelations, but my god, I am sincerely fearing that soon some of my favorites, like, Resident Evil 4 Remake, or, Resident Evil 4, the original, with the fancy HD mod that I love so much, and Dragon's Dogma 1, and Monster Hunter World, and Monster Hunter Rise, and Okami? Like, my favorite game of all time is Okami. I swear to God, if you take away my smooth frame rate for Okami, I'm gonna shit. I will shit myself. In anger. Rage poop. It's gonna happen. I hated Capcom. Stop it. Stop it, it's evil. Yeah, on that subject, here I am, excited out of my mind to Let's Play Dragon's Dogma 2. And it's like, boy, that game is so gorgeous, I fear I might have to play it on like medium settings to get a stable and good like performance. And then recording games takes up like operating power on my system, so the performance will be impacted through that. And now you're telling me there's going to be some stupid DRM that makes the game run so much worse? Like, God, I hate it. I'm so scared. Oh, all this matter about Capcom shenanigans and just setting their goodwill on fire aside, this is an incredible set piece. Like, it's a wonderful reuse of assets. Like, instead of being blue, this steamship is green. And instead of beef stroganoff, you just have the exact same model with no face tan and different hair. You know what? I'm fine with that. It's still really funny. God, they even have like the mousetrap in the same place, maybe? I forget where it was exactly, but God, I'm wondering, what the hell is going on with Kazuma? What the hell is going on with Jigoku? It's so weird. Part of me wonders if, like, everything that's happened so far is part of Male Strongheart's plan? Like, I feel like there's just something toxic going on here just beneath the surface. I feel like someone in that courtroom is being coerced into acting a certain way, to follow a certain script, and I feel like that's Kazuma. Well, anyway, it's a wonderful break from the status quo here, just incredible playing with the formula. I know that Ace Attorney 5 came out before this, but when I do get to Ace Attorney 5 and 6, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play with the formula there too. It just has me excited. Oh God, what if the collection that releases this month, the Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6 collection, releases here in January, what if that comes out with a stupid DRM? Oh. I'm salty and afraid. Salty and afraid. Well, as always, I'm loving the story. Can't wait to see how it concludes. Not that we're anywhere near to close to that, thankfully. While it is exciting to near the end, I hate to see it go. I hate to see you go, but I love to see you leave. Or is it the opposite? Love to see you go, hate to see you leave? Okay, the insinuation here is that Ace Attorney has a good ass that I like looking at. That's the joke here. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.